Good morning and welcome to today's live show. SMCI falling. Lots of things starting to fall down, but one thing that's not falling down is the trade setup that we put over on Patreon. TLT seeing some upside, and I do have a story for you this morning, a little AR-15. Let's go look at SMCI because I actually didn't look at that this morning. Whoa! No, it's still up at 49.14. I don't see anything going on. Oh. That's not good, man. That's not good. That's bad. That's bad. Oh, that's bad. Oh, this is getting bad. Okay, we got a lot to get into today. I wanted to share a little story with you guys. Once some people trickle in, I'll share that story for a second because something kind of cool happened this morning. But for the most part, we know that NVIDIA did have the same signal that we saw right in these areas, right? We're going to say it again. Right here, we saw those type of signals. Right here, we saw those type of signals. Right here, we saw those type of signals. And now we're seeing them again. So is this going to lead to more downside? Well, the thing we said in the video last night was, hey, if you really want NVIDIA to go higher, you have to remain crossed up on that 30-minute. We'll see if this 30-minute is actually going to cross. It seems like some major weakness coming in for some semiconductors. So NVIDIA does have a good shot to land below 136.43 by tomorrow close. Jekyll. Okay, that genuinely made me laugh, actually. Oh, that was good. All right. But we noticed this, and the thing with the SPY, the key thing from yesterday is you are actually seeing a reversal signal pop up, and this is something we want to pay attention to. We do have those daily expected moves for you. We'll do the Qs first real quick. We do have to the upside 50807 to the upside. And if we experience weakness and cross over here, well, momentum is suggesting that this could be a little bit worse. But we need to pay attention anytime that does whip back around, and a level that can whip back around from is 492.25. Notice the annual expected move and the daily expected move today sitting right on top of each other. That could be a very, very good support. So let's pay attention to that going forward, all right? Now, as we switch over to the SPY, just so we can show the daily expected moves, we do have 587.83 to the upside and 575.71 to the downside. Notice massive ranges for the day. All right, you have about 20%. I think it's 20%. Let me go check. Let me go check so I don't give you guys a wrong number because I want to make sure. For the SPY, you do not see this. Mainly, you see this in like bear markets, but the SPY has a 19.9% implied volatility for today. 19.9%. Do you know what the Qs have? 30% implied volatility today. So, you know, maybe the first move is not the right one, right? When implied volatility is higher, you can see rip around kind of moves. You can see big drops. You can see big pops. So we want to pay attention to our signals throughout the day. If the 30-minute does cross down, we should treat it with caution because we might be breaking through some key levels. But if that's not able to cross back down and we just keep whipping back up, that is something to pay attention to. But one thing that I'm kind of beating myself up about for not mentioning it in the video was the fact that you're going through a weird time where the SPY is actually not able to make the higher high, but the Qs were in the recent move. Okay, so I think this is an interesting look. I don't know if SMCI got caught with a bunch of baby oil or whatever, Jackal, but not good price action. Let's look at some big stocks. Apple, right? Apple's going to be a big one on the 2-hour. If that 2-hour crosses, that's not going to be a good sign. Tesla crossing down still in the 2-hour. Not seeing dramatic downside just yet. Remember, we're looking for some kind of swing here for Tesla still. But if we go, if this isn't just some kind of repositioning and something bad happens like right now, we do have the momentum signals that say, hey, this can be a big drop. But for now, leaning towards a pullback for something like Tesla that is extremely, extremely positive. Same thing could be said with something like NVIDIA. I know we're seeing some big things drop, but on the daily scale, if we really look at this at the end of the day, you know, not end of the day today, but I'm saying like, after this completes, we could end up turning back up, right? If this tries to base out at some point, we can turn back up. But looks like today, if we're going to hold like this and push down, you will be curling down that daily MACD. And NVIDIA is saying pullback. If that's too much, just watch those weekly charts, okay? If that's too much, we got to watch the weekly charts because that is that's a very, very bad look here for SMCI. Is that just a daily? Yeah, daily by the center line. Daily's by the center line, and you notice when you're by the center line, you can see some crazy stuff to the downside. And it had divergences and stuff. So this is a good example of like, hey, divergence doesn't always have to play out perfectly, right? Sometimes it's just not going to play out. That's why you got to know how to manage your trade. All right, but these are some things we've been paying attention to as far as NVIDIA goes for weakness. SMCI already at lower levels. We've been mentioning that. AMD already at lower levels. We've already mentioned that. So if NVIDIA's at these highs, that means, oh, are these going to catch up and start to see even more positivity? Something I wasn't really leaning towards. I think NVIDIA is going to maybe catch up now, but maybe not this dramatically, as it would be more of a pullback. But curling down in negative territory is not a good thing. As of right now, I did want to go check over just on a nail. I know that this was spiking up from our level. If you really look back in the YouTube videos or the live videos where we bring up nail, home builders, the 3 times ETF. So you got to do your analysis more on XHB or HGX, right? I do my analysis mainly on HGX for this, but HGX doesn't show you the pre-market. I'm pretty sure. So one thing we had marked off for a long time is 114.83. Where did we go to? Oh my gosh, we went cents, like literal cents away from 114.83 here. So key level that we had marked off, and it got tagged, right? So that just means we were paying attention to a great support level at that point. We're seeing some kind of bounce, but this is something that led us to believe. You know, we used it last week with HGX. Now we're using it again because we saw those weeklies crossing over. We got to see if this crosses over on the weekly scale by the end of the week. But we also talked about the rotation, right? The rotation into bonds. The potential for us to rotate into bonds. And I know that this was the first trade setup we gave. Hey, it's a good thing you know how to manage trades. And then we posted it again to Patreon. And now you're seeing that come to fruition. You're reacting to a great level. So it would be nice if we remained healthy in this move. We don't see some kind of crazy move like this. We could remain healthy by actually coming up to this level, creating that little head and shoulders. And what that'll allow you to do, which is very good behavior, is take back the 5, retest the 5, then you go higher. That would be the good thing. I think you have a good shot to react all the way up to 95.50 with this move before you see a more, I would say, significant pullback that then curls up into positive territory if we're going to remain bullish here for TLT. Tells us those yields are coming down. Now, someone did bring up IWM. IWM here, one thing you have to pay attention to with IWM, I know we didn't talk about it in the video last night, but the 30-minute, yes, that is very close to crossing up into positive territory. But this is where, you know, looking at the market behavior, looking at the price action behavior here, you can see this is very controlled. Okay, you see that's very controlled, pretty flaggy there. And so another drop seems to be a likely thing, right? Because we're very controlled. If you just break through there, we can see another drop lower. We'll see what happens with this as you are trying to curl up the 2 hour, right? We curled up this 2 hour, I'm pretty sure, and look where it is. It's right by that center line. So it doesn't mean that IWM is dead. It really could mean if we're able to hold up down here, this actually could be a trade setup, right? This actually could be some kind of setup. And notice the gap there. So these are the correct ranges if you need them, 225.28. Let me double check just because I got to double check. There it is. Yeah, these are the right ranges. We do every once in a while, right? We'll flip over to IWM and I try to give you those ranges as well during the live video. We don't discuss it too much in the YouTube videos unless something crazy is happening there. But for the most part, the 2 hour here, if that curls down, you see how we can still make that basing out, but we want to treat it like this can get bad. And then if it gives us a good signal, we just flip the script. It's awesome. So something to pay attention to is if this actually does cross. Notice that has not crossed just yet. That's going to be a big deal. One thing with volatility is volatility was able to turn up on the 2 hour. So that's why I didn't really sell my position. I was dedicating myself to scaling in. If we make the next move higher, we see something like this. We see something like this. I was dedicating. I already had it mentally. I was going to scale in. And now we're seeing that thing pop a little bit. Now, I'm going to share with you guys just a little story, okay? I'm going to share with you guys a little story. And, you know, we're going to get back into market things, but the election's coming up. Tensions seem to be pretty freaking high. So what I did was I was like, hey, I'm going to go vote today. And when I said I was going to go vote, I was like, let me just make a little post. And I was like, okay, I'm very excited to vote today. I know that I may be a drop of water in an overall large bucket, but I do believe our right to vote is a truly great thing. Looking back at how elections used to be, I noticed Election day used to be a great day to show the world we care about our country and what we as individuals stand for by casting our vote. I'm not going to lie, I do care who you vote for this time around, but I will never take away your freedom to cast your vote for whoever you want. I'd do the opposite in my mind. Even if we disagree, I would help protect your right to disagree. So I encourage everyone to go vote no matter what box you check. Let's try to get this country back together by making election day great again. And whatever the result, treat others how you want to be treated. Right after that moment, I let my dogs out, and I was walking out to where I normally let them go potty. And this massive bird is 10 feet over my head. I mean, I'm talking a wingspan of somewhere between 4 to 6 feet. And I'm going, this is a massive bird. It's one of the biggest birds I've ever seen. And it had a white head, and it had the white under, right? Under the feathers and stuff like that, or under it on its legs almost. It had some white there, and it was kind of dark in the feathers, and it was massive. And it perched up on a little light pole, and it just stared at me. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. I don't know how to read into it, but I just thought it was a cool moment. It made me feel very grateful for where I am today. It made me feel grateful for my family. So thank you guys for being here. It makes me feel grateful to have a community like this one. So thank you guys for being here. And let's get back into the stock market. I just thought that was a cool story. It was not a crow. It 100% was not a crow. I saw this thing 10 feet above my head. I was like, I don't know. I don't think we see a lot of eagles. But my goodness, that looked like the most eagle, and actually some crows flew by it, and they looked tiny compared to it. So it was pretty cool. Yeah, thank you guys. I thought it was a fun story to share with you guys. You know, let's start off with some positivity. Let's start off with a good little story, and then we can see what happens in this market going forward. A lot of edutainment. Thank you so much for saying that, guys. And I do encourage everyone to go out there and really turn it in. I think we need to go back to turning things into, hey, this is our moment to really say what we want to say in the way we cast our vote. And I think that's perfectly fine, no matter how you do it. I'm not here to try to talk about those things and change your mind of anything. I think you should just do what's best that you see fit for you and your family. But looking forward, we can see that the Dow, one reason that I was a little bit scared for the market was the Dow still not seeing positivity. Now, is this in some way going to be filling a gap and making some kind of divergence? I really want to pay attention to this and IWM. Those could be opportunities that are setting up while the SPY is maybe curling down. But we have to be cautious with DIA. You have to be cautious with these things, because as we keep going down, you start to look at the weekly and you start to go, ooh, that is very, very close to crossing. And it tells us that bad things can happen if that does cross down. What happened to SMCI? I actually do not know what happened to SMCI, to be totally honest. Someone just brought this up this morning. Oh, that's the weekly. I was like, why do we have a bar here? That's weird. No, but mainly for SMCI, it just was lackluster move. It was trying to build the structure to head higher, right? We were trying to do it in some way. This is a higher low, so it's not necessarily head and shoulders, but you see how it's relatively controlled, so you always got to be weary about that. But SMCI, there's always a risk with going with something that is seeing dramatic downside, and we're seeing more downside here. So that's all I can really say about it. It is before earnings. Interesting. That is before earnings. I'll have to look for some news on that. SMCI falls because the accountant resigned. Interesting. Well, one thing we can look for here is if this is going to base out, well, look where this is. We're going into liquidity right now. We're going into a breakout area. If you really look at the grand scheme of things, this thing really broke out from where we're at right now. So if this would turn around and earnings looks like a good thing, if it would be, you know what I mean? I'm not saying it looks like a good thing. I'm saying it could be. But this would be a level to catch something. So we'll see if that's able to come to fruition. We got a few days until that earnings comes out. Oh gosh, gold and silver. This is gold. Gotta watch out for these daily divergences in here. Watch out. I think that's a main signal I want to watch for GLD. But for the most part, it's who's lying here. Is it gold? Is it the dollar? Is it Bitcoin? Who the heck's lying here? Bitcoin, one note about that. We were talking about yesterday how if it stopped here and started to turn down, you got to watch out for divergence, but you kind of got rid of that. So this could be, you know, once that does happen, you get rid of that reversal signal, it starts to lean more towards a pullback, just so you are aware. GME was getting going this morning, but wanted to go look at the dollar before we go look at GME. The dollar here trying to move, really pull back with time. We'll see if that's able to curl down, but for the most part, just paying attention to a 2 hour, seeing if that can cross up, seeing if that can take back its 5-day moving average. Notice we didn't fully lose that on, say, a daily chart, so we can hold this throughout the day. We'll see if that actually does happen. TLT now up 92%. So we are seeing some rotation there. GME to the moon. Let's go check on that. 4.5%. Seeing something crazy. If it closes like this on Friday, that is going to cause some margin calls because it is outside of our crazy level. That means the options market wasn't pricing it in. That means the market maker is caught off guard by this. And it seems they're struggling to fight the stock, or maybe they're letting it build like this and they're just going to shut it down by Friday. That happens a lot of the time. But for now, we can say this is something different. This is something very different, and you had great signals here on the 2 hour. You had great signals here on the daily, right? The divergence down at these lows. Okay, awesome. One more here, pops to the upside. That's when we pay attention. Look how close that is to the center line, and you're seeing something crazy. So can we keep seeing something crazy? And I think more so if we close Friday out of here, I'd be paying attention to next week. But for the most part, you know, they can fight the stock at any time. AMC seeming a little bit more lackluster at this moment, right? At this moment. But the higher GME goes, the more struggle that they do have. Let me put this in purple, by the way, just so we can see that. 470 is the level we have to get through, and that is what would take the options market off guard for AMC. So we'll see if that's able to come to fruition. Yes, I did see a little bit of that. I did see a little bit. Yeah, I saw a little bit about Roaring Kitty. Not trying to read into what someone else is doing in a trade too much, right? I dictate my trading. And if I see a good signal, then I'm paying attention to the signal. The daily crossed up here, the monthly's crossed up for AMC, which says it might be a good investment. So I'm going to pay attention anytime that daily curls up. Earnings is around the corner, so that can shake things up. But GME had just fantastic signals. These are some of the best signals I've seen for GME ever, right? Ever, right? So I don't want to make decisions based on someone else. I want to maybe take their opinion into consideration, but I want to form my own reasoning. I want to form my own plan. I want to form the reasons for me to get into a trade. Just because Tom Lee says that IWM is going to 10 times over the next 5 years doesn't mean I buy IWM right now. I still have to see a good signal, right? This is a good signal. Awesome. And then it gave you a little 2 hour double bottom in here, and boom, dynamite. Awesome. Love to see it. Now we have to see if it can continue. You are seeing something crazy. You have not seen this in a long time, right? Every time that we get a day that closes outside of that range, like this day right here, like these days right here, what happens? Fight the stock, fight the stock, fight the stock. This is different because you have 3 days remaining out of this. 3 days. That's a lot different because usually it's 1 day and boom, down. One day here and down. 1 day here and down. But now seeing something a little different. So interesting. We'll see if IWM can just curl up on a daily scale. Then I'd be more inclined with that one. All right, let's go look over at the SPY. Look at the 2 hour. If that 2 hour crosses down, that is not a good sign. You're already seeing a break, but we haven't broken through the zone. Remember what we said in the video last night, guys. Make sure you're watching the videos every night, because the one key thing is we have to lose this zone. We wicked above the trend line. We used the bottom of the zone to wick above the trend line. We can do that again. We'll see if that's able to happen, but if that 2 hour confirms that momentum in about 1 hour and 48 minutes, that's where it starts to add up to, okay, we're gonna break this zone and maybe head down towards 570, 571. One thing to note was the GDP. The GDP did come out, and I don't know if people are reading into that. The ADP employment change got revised to 159K, came out today at 233K, and the forecast for that was only 129K, so very interesting there. But the GDP, supposed to forecast for 3.3, came in at 2.8, so I don't know if people will see that as slowing down in some way, but if they do see it as slowing down in some way, then that would make sense why these yields are here. Starting to see a drop. And we mentioned the 4-hour chart, right? We said, look at this 4-hour signal. That's another reason we were paying attention to TLT. You see all the divergence across this. This was the easiest setup for this week. This was a very simple setup. So usually if I'm posting something to Patreon, I see in some way that it looks pretty simple. Okay? I see in some way that it looks pretty simple. It doesn't mean they all play out, but for the most part, if you know how to manage a trade, you can make some good money with it. TLT, it really looks like here that the 10-year is about to maybe curl down and see some kind of at least pullback on the daily scale. Came up and touched directly on my trend line. You guys know I don't usually like to move my trend lines, especially macro trend lines. I don't like to adjust it. If something gets violated, I like to just say, okay, that wasn't the trend line, right? If there's no gap above it or something to signify that it is important, then I'm probably just deleting it off of my chart. I'm not someone who tries to just, oh, I see a wick, okay, let me connect that wick. Oh, well, if I don't include the wick, it looks like this. If I do include it, if I include this wick and don't include that one, I don't like to do that. If I'm going to use a trend line, then I'm going to make a trend line and look if it has 3 points of touches there. We do talk about trend lines a little bit in the course down in the description, 90% off through November, but you know, trend lines, not something that I'm, you know, do or die with. I think in the course we even say, I don't think it's a reason to take a trade, right? There's no reason to take a trade because you touch a line, that's a touch a drawing, right? But if you see reversal signals at the same time, that's different, right? We saw these signals. We posted this during the day yesterday when on the first cross up, right? We posted that at this time right here. And that's when we said, all right, now it looks like this is a stronger base. We see the signal here. We couldn't do it. We needed a stronger base. And you notice we hold that tapering very, very good there. So we'll see if the daily can cross up here. This is where you would maybe back off if you need that structure. But if people start to fly into this, I think you can go as high. You have a lot of implied volatility for TLT this week too, by the way. So touching something like $94 does make sense, right? All the way up in here does make sense. Now, one thing we need to pay attention to with volatility. What have we been saying is the most important chart? The daily. So if this daily curls up, that's when you got to be a little bit more worrisome, okay? So something I'll do throughout the day is look at this 30-minute chart. I'll see if we react up to a key level. Looks like we're already getting pretty much there, right? Maybe we go a little bit higher. Is that going to use 20 as a handle? Or is this going to take off? Or is this just going to rotate back down and give us some kind of double top signal, right? Usually when you do make that cup, you have a way up and a way down. That's a double top, or you make some kind of handle. So I'd just really be paying attention if volatility turns up on the daily scale by the end of the day. My TLT trade looks fan-freaking-tastic. Thank you, TLT. TLT is actually my best trade ever. Maybe not the most money made ever on a trade, but the biggest percentage gain in the shortest amount of time ever. It was a great trade back in the day, and it's still holding up there, so it looks good. All right, guys. Shot. Yeah, I know some people are. How often does gold lie? Not often. That's very true. Gold usually has a reason for moving the way it does. But now, maybe let's bounce off each other, Greg. Let's bounce off each other. You want to bounce off each other, and maybe Mark can tune in too. So what do you think about gold going up because inflation is going up? What do you think the asset of gold going up because inflation is going up? Do you think that that's why gold is going up? Do you think that's the main reason? And look at the wick. Look at the wick. Remember, it's not over. We got to see that 2-hour posted. Don't go chasing waterfalls. Because my initial thought on gold, if it's going up strictly because, like, yeah, inflation scares, people are going to gold, they're trying to do that. One thing that I would say is, well, what if we go through deflation then? I think gold's going up because massive shifts in capital management at the monetary and governmental level. Please stick to the rivers and the lakes that you're used to. Absolutely not, Lucas. Okay, okay. Because my thinking here, Mark, and that's why I want to bounce off you guys for a little bit. I want to see, like, if deflationary event will affect gold in a negative way, because that has happened plenty of times. But I just want to hear you guys' opinion. I think it'd be fun to talk about. Thoughts on QQQ are pretty simple here. The 2 hour cross is down, bad things can happen. You kind of got rid of the first divergence point, right? Because you went a little bit higher, but you made another one here. If you really look, you'll probably see a 4 hour rejection or something. This is the best signal, okay, for the Qs. This is. I don't like 4 hour charts that much, but it's a rigged market. Yeah, well, everything's a rigged market. Let's be real with that. But we can see this for the Q, since we're on this real quick, because someone wanted to look at it. First of all, daily expected moves are there for you. But this is a great signal, I think. The 4 hour is the best looking signal. It could happen, cheater, but the signals look like gold wants to drop over the next, I would say, the signals as they look right now, it's been bullish. It's very, very bullish. So, like, pretty much what I'm saying is it's making topping out signals. It could easily just violate all those. Oh, the deficit. And I think that the deficit should be a bigger topic in this election. And I think that should be the main topic of this election. It was supposed to be the main topic back when Obama was running for president. It kind of was. We had Occupy Wall Street and that thing going on. But that's what Obama is actually known for as far as I go, trading and things like that. That's what I know Obama for, is because he's the one that introduced social issues into the market at an unprecedented rate, and it took away the eyes. It took the eyes off of the debt, and look what's happened to the debt since then. So, and every president has been bad for this, right? Every president has increased the debt. It's not a good thing. It's too much government spending at the end of the day. You think gold drops down, maybe gets that pullback, and then we see some kind of crash and gold just starts to take off. Interesting. Okay, we'll see if that happens. But I do want to talk about the Qs again real quick. This is a very good signal, okay? This is a very good signal here that you're seeing on your chart in front of you. So pay attention if this 4 hour is able to see that weakness and cross down, because that can extend to the downside. We can always get one more rigged move. We can always get bounces. This could always not play out, but this is a signal to pay attention. It's very close to that center line. Okay, Greg, let me read this. If you look at the history of rate cuts from the Fed in 2008, inflation came back around April. We are on the exact track rate cuts the Fed did wrong in 2007. Yes, I've been highly critical about the rate cuts. I've said that they were going to cut rates. We talked about them cutting rates, but we talked about how that might be a huge mistake. And then that's when Israel-Iran scaled up. That's when oil started to pop. That's when inflation didn't really, I think they needed to leave it. The thing is, they're scared of causing a recession, probably during an election, which is sad, because truly your people should be what you think about first. But yeah, we'll see with that. For the most part, though, just looking for good signals. All right, just looking for good signals. Yeah, and I think that's more the hard asset, right, Mark? Nobody can really mess with the price of, or not really the price, but nobody can mess with your hard asset, which I think is a good thing. All right, GME up 6% now. And they can't afford the debt at these rates. At this rate that we're going, we're about, I think, a year, or I think we're only 2 years off from all of our taxes that we pay not being able to affect the debt. If you go watch the debt during tax season, there's a whole month where the debt actually comes down because people are paying taxes. We're about to be at a point where that won't happen. It will continue to go up. It will just slowly go up during that time. Thank you, Ben Bernanke. The most problematic thing is the fact that they keep telling you the GDP is positive without telling you the other side to that. Okay, we're having to go into, what is it, 3 times? I think it's 3x. It might be 3x, maybe 2, but it might be 3x in spending that we have to do in order to actually see the GDP get those rates. So you'll see like, oh, the GDP rose by, let's just throw out a random number. I know it's not this, but they were like, hey, yeah, the GDP rose 100 million. Okay, but we had to spend, I think it was like 400 million, right? In comparison, I know those aren't exact numbers, but we had to spend a way larger amount to get that GDP. So that's the big issue there. And as far as volatility goes, right, we need to see if this can remain curled up on a 30-minute. Curls down on a 30-minute, it can curl down on a 2-hour. What we want to see is, does this curl down on a 30-minute or does this curl up on a daily chart? If it curls up on a daily chart, that's when we have to be like, okay, volatility can really come back into this market for maybe that corrective move as people are flying over into TLT, or maybe we see something even worse. We'll see. But right now, it just looks like if it's repositioning into TLT, I'm leaning towards a pullback. With the look of the VIX right now, I'm very, very tempted at all times to say stock market crash, but I need, if I'm going to say crash, well, I'm seeing crash signals. I think it could be, but that's why I think it's going to be a bear market if we do go into one. Really, Greg? I gotta see. Tell me what to search on Google. I want to see one. Bearish engulfing is pretty much where you take, like, you completely wipe out the price action from the previous day. Some people would say the previous week, something like that. We can try to find one maybe. Let's see. Not quite. Yeah, a lot of gaps here, so that's not going to be good. I mean, I guess if you wanted to get an example of one, it might be this. It might be something like that at the top. And then like a bullish one would be like, oh, this is a negative day. Oh, you completely wiped it out, right? That's at least how I see it. It just means like, hey, we just wiped out yesterday's price action. Just be like every other channel, buy the dip. Well, you know, there could be reasons to buy the dip, right? There could be, look at this thing wicking back up. There are reasons for these type of things to go up. We still notice that 2-hour has not crossed. We keep buying up in that zone. Am I convinced that this is going to be a bullish run and I can hold on to this for 3 more months and make a ton of money? No, I think if we do head higher like this, well, we're just going to fail that move eventually. I think maybe, right, we've said this for a few days. We've just lingered in the same area. But ever since that crossover, we just said, okay, now this can get by the center line and curl up. If that happens, you have a good probability to, you know, test that previous highs and go make a new one. But if that does happen, you're getting really tight. You're seeing things like the housing sector drop down. You're seeing things like XOU drop down. I know they're bouncing a little bit today, but yesterday they gapped down dramatically. XOU curled down. So that's what we have to be paying attention to, is the fact that this could be some kind of trap. We have to pay attention to the fact that the dollar was at very elevated levels, now starting to come down. Is that the rotation into TLT? Is that people buying stocks? That's what we'll have to play with throughout the day. Most likely we'll have to think about that for about a week or two if this continues to drop. One thing that I did say in last night's video, if you watched when we talked about the dollar at the end, was if the dollar dropped, right now it makes sense. Because the dollar's going up, okay, it's been going up on the weekly scale. Dollar's going up, SPY's going up, started to go sideways, while the dollar kept climbing just a little bit here. So now you have the dollar going up, SPY going sideways. So is the positive correlation going to continue where the dollar heads up and the SPY has been heading up? Or are we going to see the positive correlation continue again and the dollar is going to drop and the market's going to drop at the same time? Now, the scarier thing in my mind is if the market drops and the negative correlation comes in and the dollar just rips. That is the scarier thing in my mind. Anyone else feel the same? Anyone else like really like been just kind of had moments in time where you look at the dollar throughout the past few weeks and been like, what is happening? What is happening? And then you go look at the SPY and you're like, what is happening between these two? So, and in this scenario, you could say, since it's positive correlation, is the dollar wrong or is the SPY wrong? We'll see. The 30-minute wasn't even able to cross over, so we can watch a 30-minute chart here, by the way. And I think we can watch a 30-minute for the Qs as well. Dow ripping up, yep, so you always got to be paying attention to the Dow actually has a decent signal here for the 30-minute for upside, just so you're aware. If that 30-minute does cross up, you can see positivity. Remember that the 2-hour is still very negative, okay? So the most likely thing for the Dow here is if we're going to get some kind of bounce, it's still a lower high. Yeah, we have not gone to really retest this ever since this day, right? We haven't really retested the breakdown area up here towards 427.50, 427 to 427.50. So this type of move can happen. Just watch out, because it doesn't mean you can't test the high, go make a new one, right? It doesn't mean you can't go positive. It just means this is going to be very difficult. It's going to be very difficult. It's going to take a lot of time. SMCI halted? All right, let's see if anything funky happens. If it's halted at 37.42, we'll see if there's some kind of gap here, because we know funky business happens. No trading is supposed to take place. No trading's supposed to take place. But we know that that usually does not happen. Usually there is always some kind of trade taking place. GME up 7%, and AMC starting to go up 2% now. I just want to see this in 40 seconds, and then I'll go look at other stuff, Lisa. But yeah, I'll take a look over at GME real quick. But you're just seeing something crazy there. It's not necessarily like... It's not the most, like... There's not a ton of technicals. Buy TLT, is that what you're saying? Well, that's why being part of the Patreon, you'll at least get good setups, right? We're not encouraging or saying like, hey, yeah, you know, we're not telling you, do your research, make sure the signal looks good for you for your trading strategy. If you need a trading strategy with those type of signals I do post on Patreon, get the course down in the description. It will make things very, very clear. You can get that really, really cheap right now. And notice that we're calling it. We literally had the YouTube video last night was, there's a bottom. You had a 30-minute double bottom right here to get into a position. That's when I took it. So once you learn all that, you learn about golden setups. This isn't the golden setup. It's pretty close. Oh, shoot. I clicked off of SMCI. Did I do it too late? Okay. Let's see what happens. How long's the halt? Who the hell's buying SMCI? Probably an algorithm. Probably the market maker. Someone you don't expect, someone who has more info than you. I wish you luck, Robert. I wish you luck. I think IWM does have an opportunity to make a double bottom there, right? I think that was IWM. We might have to go look. It is very controlled. It was very controlled trying to curl up that 30-minute. I wasn't really convinced. Is this not going to post at all? What type of halt was it? Actually, maybe I can go look if it tells me. I think I have a link for this. Stock halt alert, there we go. SMCI halted at 9:57 or 8:57 my time. LUDP, okay. That's a pretty regular halt, by the way. BlackRock halted. It says suspended. In my source here, I'm seeing LUDP, which is a so you see this all the time. LUDP is where they have those. I think they call it like circuit breaker, right? It's like, oh, the stock moves too rapidly in 5 minutes, then they can halt the stock, right? The circuit breaker halt is pretty much what you're getting here. I'll go back and look at this on the 5 minute later because, you know, it's not moving. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so no gap up there. That's good. Now with GME, you'll see gap up and gaps down. Uh-oh. Did they just take profit in a bunch of SMCI to fight the stock? Because that is a pretty random push down there. This is what you more would expect. Now, we did get away from the 5-day moving average. It would make sense to curl down to touch that, right? If we're thinking about this as a regular stock, we would just say if that 30 minutes crossed up, it's got a good chance to keep seeing crazy stuff. But if that 30-minute crosses down, ooh, last time it was sideways. This time you might have a little bit of flat divergence. We'll see if it can remain above 2191. That's the most important thing by Friday, is just remain above 2191. Oh my goodness. Pretty cool. Like it, like it, like it. I was looking at oil this morning, looking at this on, I believe it was a 4-hour. Yeah, seeing if that 4-hour can cross up. You've got little divergence in here for the 4-hour, so that's telling you some kind of bounce can come. You have to be aware that it could be making, you know, it could be a retest. Maybe you have that wonky head and shoulders popping up here. Maybe you go make that handle now with this level. But for the most part, this can flip around a daily chart for oil. GME just remain above 20, what was it, 2191? Let me double check. Yeah, 2191. You can still see crazy stuff. Then next week we have to break through another crazy level if it doesn't fully play out, right? If we don't see this thing go bam, well then you got to break through another crazy level next week. We'll give you that updated level on Sunday night. Volatility, one thing to look at here is still if the 30-minute is able to cross down. Okay, that's going to be a big deal. We notice that the Dow is seeing that upside, is curling up on a 30-minute. That is a higher low. You can see positivity from that. Wonder how long that'll last. And the Qs never confirm this yet, right? We're going to pay close attention to the Qs today. Let me look through some 30 minutes here to see if anything was giving us a hint. XLU, there's that dramatic drop. Apple was one. We're looking if that one can cross on a 2-hour, right? Tesla, 2-hour pullback still happening. Amazon, seeing that upside move. Fantastic move. Getting rid of a lot of the little 2-hour divergences, so good move. I kind of want to look at the daily here, though. Okay, we'll see. This is saying the daily has some room, but the Bollinger Band's saying something else. You're trying to spread it out to the upside. You touch a key level. Let's hope that's not some kind of double top at that point. The 2-hour for NVIDIA curling back down, right? So we're paying attention to that 30-minute. And the 30-minute has crossed, okay? You are in negative territory. Notice where are we reacting to? Well, we're getting right by the monthly expected move. So that is an area where you would expect this to become support. We'll see if we can lose that. You have about 24 hours left, a little bit over 24 hours, about 36 hours, let's say that, to land back in its 68% zone. AMD, just dramatically bad downside. We'll see what happens with that one. There's no real good technicals there. As far as Meta goes, if you see this look, this might not be bad, right? This has a way up, it has a way down. The way up, because this is so positive, would just be a 30 minutes able to pull back, curl back up into positive territory, really get that structure to head higher for Meta. But earnings coming up, so very cautious with that. It looks like Microsoft able to violate the divergences as of right now, able to break out. So that is a good sign for Microsoft. Earnings coming up with that one. My goodness. Google, good upside move. So good move here from Google. showing some green numbers for the earnings. People seeing that as some positivity. Now, the thing about Google was we were talking about the fact that it was making structure, right? You see the 2-hour structure here. So what we did was we had the left, we had the head, and we had that right shoulder that remained pretty flat, but you built a ton of liquidity here. See a pop. Are we outside of a weekly expected move? Yes, you are. You're already outside of what the options market has priced in for Google. Netflix, very worried about Netflix. Not really the best reversal signals on the 2-hour, but if this thing turns down on the weekly scale, that's going to be ugly. Okay, you have a bunch of points of divergence there. It does not look good from that weekly scale. If I spread it out to a monthly, you're probably going to see monthly divergence. Not a good look there for that guy. SMCI on the weekly, you can see that just rejected. And now you're curling down on a daily scale. So negativity, you still have room to the downside. You could make a divergence here. So we'll see if this can whip back around. Has that crossed even? Yeah, we're confirming the momentum. Okay. Mara, this is why you got to be a little bit careful with Mara, because that daily can rotate down. If you see a 2-hour divergence and you are seeing it, is it confirming? It's not confirming yet. Not confirming yet. This could all be structure, right? Left, head, kind of a very wonky right shoulder, cup and handle in it, maybe, you know. So a little bit wonky, but if you can break through this level cleanly, not confirm that, then that can be a good sign. And then let's go back over to the Q. Let's check on GME, 4.72, still above. This is all I'm going to look at too, 21.91. Just have to remain above that. AMC 470. Okay, so we get above 470 for AMC. I'm feeling good about that one as well. Well, that's where the battle begins, actually. So that's where it's like, okay, now we got to be paying attention. The Q is still looking at that 4-hour, but mainly for the time being this morning, 30 minutes are going to be important. And then we'll check over. I'll keep volatility up on my other charts. Volatility unconfirming on the 2-hour. We have 1 hour left. Okay, so just so you know, volatility curled up. Look at that 30-minute if that curls down, because this 2-hour has already confirmed right back down. Every time we try to get above 20, and this is the sketchiness, is because above 20 is where algorithms can start to kick in for some major volatility. And notice, where do we keep fading it? Right when we get above 20, almost every single time. Actually, pretty much every single time, except for one little 2-hour bar. So worrisome. And you notice when we did do that, what happened the next day? Oh, shoot, gap that thing down, guys. You know what I mean? So be cautious with this. 30-minute crosses down. It means, hey, volatility might need some time here to turn back up. TLT reacting to a great level. All right, now it's getting a little excited, so we do have the opportunity for a pullback in here at some time. Right, we'll see. But if we can remain above this little level here, that would be a good sign. What is that? I like the closes here. 92.97, so right what we're testing right now. IWM boomed to the upside. So we got the fake out to the downside, and then you curl up into positive territory. Fantastic. IWM running. See if that daily can cross up. 2-hour rejected hard there. Wedge yields coming down. It does make sense for IWM to run a little bit. Oh yeah, and HGX. Let's look at that. HGX getting a bounce here. One thing to note, you might have flat divergence. It's kind of hard to see there. Maybe I'll look at an hourly, see if that spreads it out. Okay, well, I hate the fact that arrows pop up when I look at this. And then they didn't pop up that time. It's only when I hit the middle, I guess. A little bit of divergence here for the housing sector. I think it is there on the 2-hour. So we'll see if the daily can cross up here. That is a very, very strong move to the downside. We'll see what happens. All right, let's go back over to the Qs. Down 0.17 at this moment. Maybe this will give us a hint too. Volatility closes in 27. Qs close in 17. So we'll watch the Qs first. And you can still watch the SPY too, see if that curls down. But IWM shows some strength there. And I'm sorry, by the way, guys, I will have to hop off right at 10 o'clock. We have a massive storm. We're actually going to maybe see a bunch of tornadoes here in October. I don't think that's ever happened in my lifetime. So got to be a little careful, got to make sure to go get water and all that kind of stuff. So I will have to hop off in about an hour. That's why I'm going to go vote today. Volatility really looks like, I'm watching volatility on my other screen, by the way. I'm keeping an eye on it for you. That 30 minutes about to, you know, it's at the point where it can cross very easily. So paying attention to that for you. All right, who's got something fun to look at? I'm bored now. Got some get some popcorn and watch Twister. Bro, I watched that movie so many times. No, I'm not bearish until the signals get confirmed, right, Buster? So the only reason that I'm leaning a little bit bearish here, and I know that one more move up could come. If you watch our YouTube videos, you'll know we've been talking about the 2 hours crossed. That usually means we will see another upward move. Just watch out if it's a trap, because the things that we're paying attention to are the dollar's been scaling up like crazy while the market's going up. And another point to that is HGX confirmed down on a weekly scale, and XLU is confirming down on the, or about to confirm down, I think, on the daily scale. So we do have crash signals. We have volatility behaving like a bear market already. So that's the things that are leaning me bearish, but I still, for trades, will wait till I see a setup, right? I think some kind of corrective move, because you're seeing, so what we said was we're bullish on TLT, right? We're bullish on TLT. That's what these signals told us, right? And this is what we posted to Patreon, because this is what we were bullish on. We posted that right at about, I think, 91.70, or I think it was right here, 91.74. That's when I started posting that to Patreon, because it's just a good look. It's a good look. You even have a little divergence on the RSI here for the 30-minute that said, hey, when I curl up, I'm going to look good. That's when I took the trade, and that's when I started to post it. So mainly bullish on TLT. I think a corrective move, just so you guys know, if you're new here or you're just asking my opinion, I still think we could be in a time where people rotate to TLT. And I think that rotation, if that's the only reason we turn down, that most likely will say, hey, this is just going to be a little 7 to 10% correction maybe. And we're going to see it in the signals if that's going to turn around. Okay, we will see it. Now, the second part to that is, but if people are rotating into TLT, the market is seeing selling come in and something else happens with that, that's when you got to be paying attention. I'm really going to dig into SMCI today. Yo, let me know what you find, Jackal. Let me know what you find. Wait, their accountant resigned? Are they fudging numbers? IWM, you've never seen it run like this? It's a rapid move. It has these type of moves before, right? It sees those major moves before, but not with this kind of look. That is what's weird. Yeah, let me know what you find, Jackal, because it's very hard for me to like research stuff in real time when I'm live. That's why you'll see me post a lot to Patreon, you know, throughout the day, or at least, you know, as much as I can. If I see something good, I'll post something. But most of my research happens after the stream because it's very hard. The accountant leaves and he took their money with him. He took some the accountant left and sold all of his stock. Goodness gracious, it is like, I didn't think about this fully when you guys were talking about it, but if your accountant just ditches out for some reason, what the hell? Transparency concerns? Why doesn't Google move like Tesla? Tesla just has way more implied volatility. And that could mean options are coming in, algorithms coming in. It's a more volatile stock. It's pretty fresh. It's new. That could be it. It also could be because a lot of really, really rich people invest in Google, and, you know, the way that they push Nvidia higher for years, right, up hundreds of percent, was they make it go up slowly over time so no halts ever happen. Whereas something like Tesla, or what's happening with SMCI, if you see those big moves right away, well, you're probably going to get halted. Ernst & Young resigned as Supermicro auditor last week after raising significant concerns over the company's internal controls, board independence, and accounting. Accounting is the auditor resigned at SMCI. So he might, if he's an auditor? When you say auditor, do you mean like, you know, the type of accountant that's an auditor? I'm just trying to get it clear because I just want to make sure it's in that category still. But because if the auditor who audits your accounts and, like, you know, they send those people to go audit other companies too and see how they're functioning, by the way. So an auditor from SMCI technically could go audit and go look at how things are done over at AMD. They could go look at how things are done over at NVIDIA. They could go look at MicroStrategy or something like that. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. But see, I don't know enough about accounting. And like, all of my best friends in college became accountants. They were all taking the CPA exam and that kind of stuff. And I was like, I hate it. I am not organized enough. Is there a level you're watching to enter the VIX trade? I'm already in it with a scale in, just so you're aware, Terry, but I don't necessarily pay attention to certain levels. I'm more looking for when momentum is good, no matter what the price is. Okay, so right now, if this 30-minute turns down, that would mean momentum is not good, but I've already dedicated myself to scaling in here. If I see some kind of major signal, you know, weekly crosses down, yeah, I'll manage the trade for sure if that would happen. But for now, I'm just like, I'm in my first scale in. The signal that I'm looking for, Terry, though, I'm not really paying attention too much to the price. I'm just saying this. If we close with a green bar, I know it's red. Here, look. If we close with a green bar like that, what's going to happen? Well, this is going to cross up. Daily momentum is going to say, what was that noise? What was that noise? Hold on, some random noise happened. Oh, maybe it's my daughter playing with a toy. Sorry about that. But I'm more paying attention to when momentum looks good. And if it did that, no matter what the price is, that's when I would have to make a decision, right? That's when I would say, okay, volatility has a high probability to see daily momentum in it. Okay, so I'm not someone who says X price is what I'm going to buy at, unless I'm looking maybe at investing. But something I can do is tell you what prices I do look for. Terry, okay, now if you know what these weekly ranges are, Terry, I don't know if I've seen you comment too much in the chat here, but if you pay attention to our videos a lot, you're going to hear us talk about, I use UVXY, Maurice, and I've done it a lot. UVXY is leverage, so you got to be very careful with it. A lot of them are leveraged. But the prices I'm more paying attention to, Terry, are going to be the daily expected move. Ooh, I kind of like green. Who likes green? Say green or red in the chat for the drawings. I kind of like green. That's kind of nice. But yes, this is something I watch. This is something I watch intraday. This is what I'm watching during the week. Now, am I paying attention to buy or sell at that price? Sometimes, if I'm taking a bullish trade and that's hitting here, well, this is all the options market expects for the entire week. So if that happens on Tuesday, or even Wednesday, or even Friday, I can say, okay, I'm gonna take some off the table up here because that's all that's priced in, and we have a 68% chance to land in the below that. So I'm more paying attention to this price, but I'm not paying attention to it for a buy or a sell all the time. A lot of the time, if I'm doing something with this price, it's a sell. But the only thing I'm paying attention to for a trade setup here is for it to give me the structure I want to see, is for it to give me the structure I want to see at the same time. Okay? And if all of this seems a little bit confusing, that's okay. Stick around for a little while. See if you can get a good grasp of it. I don't know. I think you maybe you have been here a little while. Maybe I'm just forgetting. But if you're out there and I'm explaining this and it's at all confusing to you, just check out that course down in the description. But you can always watch these videos. I'm not going to say like, go get it right now. I'm just like, you know, take your time, see if this is a good style for you, see if you can get a good grasp of it, understand it a little bit. If you want to become a momentum position trader like me, well, then that course is down there for you, but you can just stick around and learn as much as you can on here for free. Walmart, oh, I'm looking. Walmart did have that crazy divergence. Now, yeah, remember this. Okay, so this is what we talked about with Walmart a little bit ago, was the fact that, whoa, we actually did go up to it. Okay, so we drew this line because we said right here, hey, if this curls up one more time, it might make that move to that line. We violated it a little bit there. And this is the same thing Netflix did. Now we're seeing a major divergence. You want to see a good opportunity for, you know, I'm just mentioning Terry a lot because he asked a question about, you know, prices and things like that. What do I pay attention to for price? And more so paying attention to momentum. And momentum here is saying, I'm sick. I'm sick. That's what it's saying. It's saying this is inviting if we get a little bit of bad news, this is where you can see a big drop for Walmart. Okay. Now here's the crazy thing. You want to see something crazy? You want to see something crazy? Okay, we like green. I'm going to leave it green. But who brought up Walmart? Who the heck was it? Who the heck brought up Walmart like 2 seconds ago? Oh, Robert. Sorry, Robert. Okay, so here's the thing that's crazy. Remember what we looked at yesterday, Robert? Remember what we looked at yesterday? Okay, and you're saying a weekly signal looks bad here. Got to pay attention if that daily crosses up for Costco. But remember this. You had a weekly divergence confirm here for Costco, and it's still remaining at high levels. It's still remaining at high levels. It is building liquidity while actually confirming the divergence here, and you have triple divergence, and it's more significant now on the RSI. So not only does that add validity to Walmart if you're not seeing those weekly signals cross over yet, but this can be reasons to take a trade here. You can look at another stock that is similar and see if it has a similar look and see how it's behaving and see what it did before that other stock did. Now you have to be aware these things can turn up. You got to be able to manage the trade, but this is very good to look at if you're paying attention to something like Walmart. Now let's see. I mean, Target might be a little bit different. Yeah, see, Target's a lot different. What is that noise? Does anyone keep hearing like a bing bong? Or is that just in my ear? If you guys hear a noise that sounds like doo-doo, let me know, because something around me is making that noise, and I have never heard that noise before. Is it my phone? Sorry, it's just, we do have like tornadoes that are forming, okay? So I'm a little bit like, whatever. But Target, you're seeing this, okay? This is why it's good to look at multiple stocks, because this looks totally different, doesn't it? On the weekly scale, this looks like, hey, we could be building that structure to head actually higher if we're able to break through. No, I'm hearing doo-doo. Like, I've heard it 3 times now, and it's really bugging me. And yes, ADHD makes it bug me. Well, you know that I'm a TLT investor. TLT is something that I look into at investing. You guys know that TLT, where did I say to that I was going to invest in TLT, right? We talked about it when I believe it was this drop was happening. Where did I say I was going to buy TLT? Back here. Back in May. You can go back to videos and look. And if you watch live videos, people ask me about TLT. I said 82.50. 82.50 is where I had my investment. Now, I've managed the trade a couple of times since then, right? I'm still actively trading this back and forth with my investment, making sure that this is a good low, taking profit at times I should take profit, taking profit at times I should take profit when I see daily divergences. Awesome. I see the weekly turn up, I go, okay, and then I see daily divergence, I get out. And now I'm going, okay, that's a great signal. Let me see if this is a good point to invest. So, and I also took an option trade with this, but 82.50, look at that. Where did we touch? You guys want to see? Where did we touch? Let's see. Oh, I was close. I was close. The low is 82.42. Dang it. I do not have a doorbell, and I wouldn't hear that from my left screen. It's just weird. Sorry about that. I know that's distracting to talk about, but there's freaking tornadoes forming. So you guys, I say doo-doo, and then everyone's child side comes out and posts poop. I'm not gonna lie, I love it. I'll be slightly immature forever. Tesla is rocketing. Now, Tesla, just remember this, not from the weekly scale, but the monthly scale. This said, hey, I might be a good investment. And look at that wick, right? That's saying I'm a good investment, which is crazy to think about. I actually don't have a ring camera set up here. This place has cameras, so I was like, eh. But we're looking for that 2 hour to curl back up for something like Tesla. So yeah, TLT though, yes, I'm pretty happy about TLT. All right, 2 hour cross down. 30-minute has not yet. What's the Q? The Qs are trying to build it back. Okay, so I'm going to use the restroom real quick and I'll be right back. Keep an eye on this for me, okay, guys? I'm going to make sure everything's okay upstairs because of that noise. All right, we're back. And yeah, no noise upstairs. So it's something around me. I'll figure it out eventually, maybe. Maybe. Also, one thing. Short Fridays is like, you're really positive. Actually, I slept terribly last night. And then I woke up really early. And then I chugged a bunch of coffee. Yeah, I'm kind of worried. One thing I didn't want to mention, Robert, was I'm a little bit sketched out because we know the market's rigged, and if IWM pops, and then it's just like so rich people can get out of positions, I'm scared of that. But if it can curl up, you know, things can be good. I really trust my indicators, and that's going to be a key thing, guys. If you're going to use these type of strategies, if you're going to use these indicators, you got to trust them. You got to trust them when they say momentum looks good to the downside. There's a divergence outside of a weekly range, and you're like, okay, I'm going to trust it. And then it says, I'm curling up. I might see one more rig move. You got to trust it. You got to manage the trade. I hope you're not going insane. No, I'm not going insane. I just so here's the thing. You guys maybe have seen in my videos, I have big ass beaver teeth. Okay, we've got two big beaver teeth in the front, and I might have passed them down to my daughter, and my daughter grew her big right side beaver teeth and tooth, and now her left one's coming in, so our sleep has been, yeah. NVIDIA, the key thing with NVIDIA is the daily scale. If that curls down, I know we're using the top side monthly expected move as support right now, which would be different than when we've used this signal in the past, but you do have major reversal signals for the daily here on the 2 hour, and that's still completed. You just haven't gone negative yet. So something key here is, can this 2 hour turn up over the next, today and tomorrow? Because tomorrow is when you can close below this range, and then the next day you'll get new ranges, right? We'll post those to Patreon. Well, and that's the thing, Jackal. What time frame are the indicators that you're looking at? VIX is recovering. Let's go look. Actually, I have that on my other screen. Let's leave NVIDIA up for a sec. It's trying to. It's not curled down on a 30-minute yet. What time frame are you looking at, Jackal, with those indicators? Because one thing would worry me if you say something. A couple things would worry me, actually, if you say that. We are seeing some of the craziest behavior in the market you've ever seen, and that's just the dead coming up. You're in NVIDIA puts? Well, then you might be having a decent day. Ernst & Young has resigned as the auditor for Supermicro Computers. We can no longer rely on management's misrepresentations. Looking at longer-term indicators related to gold, dollar yields, debt, housing, GDP. Yes, you are seeing very weird stuff because you're seeing all of those up at the same time right now. Gold is up, dollar is up, yields are up, debt's going up, housing is starting to go down, GDP is still going up. So I get that. I think Apple can show weakness. We'll see if that comes to fruition today with this 2 hour crossing over. If Apple and NVIDIA start to lose it bad, that's when you got to really be worried about the market. But if it's just a rotation to TLT, guys, if there's no other news besides, hey, we're maybe rotating into TLT, you got to see something else besides that in order for this not to be a correction, in my opinion. But volatility is saying, hey, I turn up on a daily, you might see a stock market crash. Higher probability there, as it's been having that crash signal and holding it for a long time as we've reached new all-time highs. So NVIDIA curled down on a 30-minute. You can just see that 30-minute curls up. It's not dramatically away from the center line. So that's where you pay attention, but 68% chance to land below 136.43 by tomorrow close. And then tomorrow after hours, guys, the Patreon, we will be putting out the monthly expected moves for stocks like NVIDIA, AMC, GME, Meta, Microsoft, all those good stuff. The ones that we really pay attention to in the videos as well. But if you did know, we do give them out for free on the SPY and the Qs. So you can see the monthly expected moves, we're not near them. Qs, monthly expected moves, we're not near them. Yeah, we've really just gradually went up, gradually went up. Yeah, Apple, I think this is the important signal, and you can see that Apple could make this crossover. It's very, very close now. Having a good time. Also, I mean, that little eagle story made me in a good mood today. It literally filled me up with gratitude, and I felt tough. I don't know why. I saw an eagle, or maybe an eagle, right? I don't know birds. I'm not a bird guy. That's my mom. I'll show her the video. She loves birds. That's actually not bad, Navi. That's actually not bad because you're coming towards support, right? We can use the topside monthly as support. If you're like, hey, I just want to make a little money out of this, hey, okay, 30-minute divergence, take, the actual time to take that was here. Let's see what that price is. 142, so pretty much right where you're at. Almost right where you're at. And then, hey, take a little sell towards that monthly expected move retest, it looks like. But the important thing is just to notice when we lose it, bad things happen. When we want to gain it, we gap above it. We come into the area to use it as support. I mean, if you want to say general area to use it as support, we come to use it as support. So you got to really lose that here. And the daily is crossing. So we'll see if that remains by the end of the day. That's some bad news. SMCI, I just can't believe that. That is so crazy to me. And then watch. Now, will people, here's a question for the chat. Will you trust this earnings if it's good now? Maybe it's a condor? Would you trust SMCI earnings? No, he's like, nah. Like, their accountant's like, hey, man, they're really messing with stuff over there. They are totally fudging this up. I got to resign or else this is going to look terrible on my resume. And then they produce good numbers. The stock goes up and you're like, what's going on here? Like a Hawaiian punch at a Diddy party. Bro, I have some, man, isn't it crazy how when you're in college, you just like see a jug of jungle juice at a random party and someone's like, hey, do you want some? And you're like, yeah. It's just a jug. Like someone could easily have just like put shit in there. A lot riskier back in college, man. Does China own SMCI? Is the Hang Seng seeing some downside? I love that name, by the way. That's so sick. Sounds cool. All right, TLT, one thing to look at here. Okay, we're starting to do that. We got a little excited. That's why I'm like, okay, we can still make this little handle. We can still go retest the 5, right? I kind of like the green. The green's fun. Ooh, this is fun. Oh, wait, how do I do this? I think I already did this wrong. Yeah, I already did this wrong. This is sorry guys, I have to feed my ADHD every once in a while. All right, there you go, TLT. Maybe that'll give you a boost. Oh, we got to give him eyes, or else he looks like one of those clowns from that scary puppet show. Okay, now he looks scarier, actually. Okay, we'll leave that for TLT, see if that helps it out. Also, why is this ear so small? All right, and now it's too big. And now it's too wonky. All right, there you go. Now we're back to the market. All right, Qs, 30 minutes, still important. Okay, we'll put the bear on it. Why did we put a bear on it? Wait, we want it to be bullish. I don't know how to draw a bull. Oh, there it is. Okay, it is in my ear. It is in my ear. I definitely knew that that sound was in my ear now. Now, why is that sound happening? Oh, it's the halts, guys. It's the halts. We have halts on WCT, FIAC, SMCI. WCT just got halted. Let's go look at something random. I do not know what the hell this is. Halted. Okay, let me turn that off because I can't take that dinging. Ooh, volatility. Okay, volatility, you're right. It needs to cross over on the 30-minute. Oh my goodness. No shit, Charles Liang from China is the CEO of SMCI, so there you go. 9-day volatility between 22 and 23. Wait, what? Does that have a ticker, Jackal? I want to see that. Why do I feel like I... Do I already know what that is? I just like... Put my other charts for a second here. VIX 9D. Let me go look at that. Ooh, cool. Ooh, that already curled up on the daily. And it has the crash signal too, technically. This is kind of cool. I dig it. It's kind of cool. I might research into this a little bit. I don't want to comment on it too much because I've literally never seen that. That's very cool. I like it. Let me add this somewhere. All right, I'm gonna add that in and do some research on it. I like that. That's fun. Let's go look at something else here. Palantir, watch out for Palantir on the daily. I'm getting a little rejection here for Palantir. I know, yeah, not the most. There you go, 2 hour crossing down, giving you the divergence point. Not the most significant, but pretty significant there. Here, let's do this because my drawing's always terrible. Yoink. Decently significant. Decently. Very significant on the MACD though. But on the daily scale, you can see the rejection. See that rejecting? So if this sees downside from here, it would make total sense to see a bigger pullback still. It's still very high into positive territory. Where's the weekly expected move for that guy? Did we come up to it? Nope, didn't even get to it. GME and AMC, both positive. AMC actually seeing just a tiny bit more upside now. Okay, that didn't help. Let's zoom into this thing. We'll see if that can see something crazy. Got to get through. 470. GME remaining up there. Does have a little 30-minute divergence in here on the RSI, not necessarily on the MACD at the same time. Very, very flat if it is there. I think once you spread it out, you see, oh, nope, that blue line goes above it. Okay. Okay. Okay, Mr. Monkey. Okay. Doing trucks is bad. Hey, thank you, Jackal. I appreciate it. I'm down. No, yeah, and this is why the thing you'd be scared of here, you do have one on the MACD, not the RSI. Okay, so you would be scared of something here, and that would just be, hey, if big people need to get out of positions and this thing just shoots down, that's when you would be like, wow, that was a rigged move. But it's not necessarily giving you signals. Just watch if that MACD does cross. Oops, that can go negative. But yeah, I think I'm in agreement with you. I don't see how this could really be, I guess, awful in some way. I just don't see it unless that 2 hour would cross. If the 30 minutes telling you, hey, weakness, and then that keeps going, and then the 2 hour crosses down, well, then now you're in negative territory. And because you made this move, I actually think it's less likely to go make that double bottom divergence now. I would rather us have used this flagging, this draw up here. I would rather us have done that and then seen the big reaction. I think momentum would have been better there. But you're still seeing the 2 hour curl up into positive territory. So good stuff. Now we just got to pay attention to this guy. And I'm going to go look at volatility while I leave you guys here for a brief moment. And I'm going to check on one thing before volatility. Oof, Mara. What is Bitcoin doing? Actually, Bitcoin still looks okay. All right, let me go check volatility on the 30-minute. Ooh, volatility just made a big upward move there. Pretty solid move here. Not massive, right? But if you're going to reject, you really want to see that start to turn up. Then by end of day, still by end of day, gonna mention it again, end of day, watch if that's turned up. That means you gotta be very, very cautious with upside moves, and it's starting to lean towards downside moves. Volatility still positive, seems to be trying to curl up into positive territory on a 2-hour. Maybe a 1 hour here looks better, really close to the center line, I'm sure. Yeah, 1 hour, pay attention to that. Dow tried to do it, kind of failing right now. Oh, no, you're slowly taking back the 5 here once you put the 30-minute on. But volatility getting a reaction here, that has to cross for us to see more positivity. So are the Qs going to experience some weakness? Well, the SPY is more what you want to look at for volatility, right? The VIX does the SPY. VIX and SPY are related. Okay, good. I still have time. Sorry. Oh, VIX moving a little higher there now. 19.65. We'll see if it keeps going. Yes, Jackal, that's what you see. And we've mentioned that. I don't know if you were here for it, but the last time we were trying to call like a bigger move down. Let's see where that was. Was it here? I think it was back in July. It might have been back in July. It might have been here. But either way, we say that a lot. Pay attention because you'll see 2 stocks hold up the entire market. And then when stuff starts to drop, those 2 stocks start to drop, well, all those other stocks keep it elevated. And then when those base out, Apple and Nvidia are able to push the market a little higher because those other stocks have helped it out. Then you see something awful. Right now you can see, ooh, are we going to do it again? We'll see. Right now you're trying to curl up. Look at that. Look at that on the daily. Little green bar. So there's a way up, there's a way down, guys. So today's important. And that thing could just reverse the next day. Oh, that's for the Qs. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. And if you've watched the videos lately, we keep mentioning that in the videos. The fact that volatility is behaving like a bear market. It is. It is up by 20 for the past, what, month and a half? 2 months? Okay, 3 months? Something like that. It's been up there for a long time. So it's weird because when you see us go to all-time highs, you normally would see volatility go down to 1212. 1212 is my level for volatility. But you don't see that. You're not seeing that, which tells you one thing. It tells you 2 things. It tells you, hey, we are behaving like a bear market. We're holding the crash signal. That's one. The second thing it tells you is, in order for that to hold like that, we have to have some big people who have puts 30 days out. That means some big people probably suspect that something bad is coming. And now you're starting to see this Qs turn over on the 30-minute. Now, we have to see if this will be corrective or if this will be crash-like. Right now, volatility is telling you it's going to be a crash, right? If that daily turns up, that's what it's saying. But if it's just that rotation to TLT, then you would say, ooh, okay, this might give us a signal on volatility that says it's going to subside. Oklo's a troll. Someone asked about this yesterday, right? Oklo, you little troll. Well, you have a 30-minute divergence, so weakness here. Weakness on the 30-minute. You'll notice the last 30-minute divergence here. You made a triple one. See that down? See that down? And it's not getting to those elevated levels this time, right? This move didn't get that. It got this. So now you have weakness. And then if you pull this out, you look at a 2-hour, you're going to go, uh-oh, that has a 2-hour behind it as well. So this is very likely going to be a 2-hour pullback, and I'd expect a reaction down to about 1769. Yeah, it's true, and we've mentioned it before, and Jack will bring it up perfectly there. I don't think that that's a bad thing to think about. I think that that is just you using common sense, right? Oh, everything's crashing. Oh, well, this piece of data was bad news. Why is Apple going up 2%? Why is Nvidia going up 2%? You know? And then it's like, oh, finally, Apple and Nvidia are crashing down. Well, why is Google up? Why is Microsoft up? You know? So it just tells me that a lot of you guys do have common sense, and you can see how the tomfoolery in the market is there. You want the Qs at 495 today? Today? Oh, you need that today? Then you want this 30-minute to cross down, and it's crossing down. It can go all the way down to 492 if this crosses, but 495 has a good shot to get there if this remains. AMC 460. Can we make it? Can we do it? Come on. Come on. Oh, I know what we need to do. Let me find it. You guys, we gotta find it. We gotta find it. Where is it? No. Monthly. There it is. There's our little Japanese mayo. Let's get some mayo on that thing. We did this for GME. We didn't do it for AMC, and then GME popped. So we got to do it for AMC now. Let's give it a little extra. There you go. Okay. We squeezed out the last part of the bottle. We might have to get a new one. Great stuff. GME, just note, and notice this, they see GME go to higher prices, we start to see the fight. What happens to AMC? It starts to pop. This is something we've talked about. We've talked about the fact that I think they have trouble keeping both down at the same time. So once GME starts to get fought against, watch out, because AMC might run for a little bit, and then it's kind of the battle of can they keep both down. Looks like a popcorn container. So we'll see. NVIDIA 1.63. Curled down on a 30-minute. Yeah, we're not here to tell people what to do with their money. We're trying to teach people how to manage their money, how to trade, right? But congratulations, Mr. Pickle, if a trade worked out for you. We appreciate that. You are celebrating here with us. Wolf, is cost popping? Uh-oh, cost is turning up on the 30-minute here. Where's the daily? Oh, the daily's still positive. Wow. Let's look at a bunch of these. Wolf speed. Daily's already curled up. Ooh, weekly. Nope, no divergence. Damn. 2 hour curls up for Wolf. That could be a good sign for it. Maybe test the high, go make a new one. High probability of that happening. If it curls up on the 2 hour with some strength. TLT giving it up. TLT, you could still be making that handle. Look at that little bear. Oh, we put a. Why did I draw a bear on this? God dang it! I'm so stupid. Why would I draw a bear when we want bullishness for TLT? Why would I draw a bear, guys? Why'd you let me do that? Okay, now it just looks like. Now I don't know what that looks like. I hope I didn't just delete an indicator. Nope, we're still good. TLT, one thing that can happen here is we got excited. So when we get excited, we said this right away, we're like, this is gapping up. Okay, we can always come and retest that 5, and then we'll see if we can hold that. If we can hold the 5, that would be a good sign. This 30-minute is going pretty positive. A little bit more positive than last time. But good divergences here for the 2 hour, saying the daily can turn up. Yields, we'll have to see if those are reacting. They are. lower high still likely, but we're making a little 30-minute divergence. Well, that can pop a 2-hour. If that's by the center line, we got to watch out if that crosses up. But yeah, nothing goes up in a straight line. I know that we're seeing a lot of those type of things in the market these days with Tesla, with kind of GameStop right now. We're seeing straight down with some. We're seeing straight up with some with earnings. But just note, there will be pullbacks. TLT is smart traders trade TLT too, right? People who really manage risk and find those good levels, take profit, those type of things. All right, our 3-month investigation, which included interviews with former senior employees and industry experts, as well as a review of litigation records, international, corporate, and custom records, found glaring accounting red flags, evidence of undisclosed related party transactions, sanctions and export control failures, and customer issues. Wow. Yeah, I assumed that was SMCI. That's a big problem. And do you guys remember how we talk about NVIDIA? How we say, I think a lot of their revenue, quote unquote, is fraudulent, in my opinion. Not saying NVIDIA is a bad company. It could not be. But we have seen some smarter people than me come out and say, hey, you know, NVIDIA is doing some cheeky stuff with Microsoft, and I think it was Microsoft and Google to make some weird profits. SMA. Yeah, I just left it on the, I'm using it on this, and just because we see reactions to the 5 a lot. On the macro scale, you'll see a lot of reactions to the 5. I still wait for my confirmations on the 9. But I do, oh yeah, and Onda, maybe if you haven't been here a long time, back when we called the bottom in October of last year, that's where I say I switched it to a 5. So if a market's going to be bullish, I usually use a 5, but since volatility has remained bear market-like, I've really used a 9 for about, since like June, I think. So if volatility's higher, I'm using a 9. If it's just a bull market, then I'll probably use a 5 because we'll ride that 5 a lot of the time. So it's just something I'm putting on my shorter time frames to see if I like it. So far, I kind of like it. What in the world did I wake up to? Well, SMCI, their accountant resigned. Apparently, there is a lot of, I guess you want to say discrepancy. Discrepancy, I guess. A lot of red flags. That's how we'll say it, because that's what Jackal said was reported. There are glaring accounting red flags. If you want to read Jackal's comment, just a few above you there, if you can see it. I know sometimes that the live video doesn't show you previous comments, but Jackal, if you want to repost that real quick. Oh, Coinbase. Yeah, we can look at Coin. Most of the time, if it's good for Bitcoin, then it's good for Coinbase. We'll see if that lasts, because Coinbase, ooh, that's a steep 2-hour divergence. Hasn't completed yet, right? Hasn't completed yet. Has not confirmed, right? Earnings coming out. We'll see what happens with that. That's a 50-50 flip. But for the most part, the daily scale has been going up and up and up and up. And if you want to see a pullback here, well, a 2-hour divergence is most likely what you're going to see, but anything can happen with earnings. There you go, Hussein. It could be. We're going to start to see, as the stuff starts to unravel, you're going to actually get to see all of the corruption going on in a lot of markets. I don't think semiconductors are heavenly and saintly and all that. I think that there is corruption in those, just like we saw corruption with FTX, just like we see corruption all the time with coins and stuff like that, with these money pumping schemes, all that kind of stuff, just like the corruption that's being exposed right now with GME and AMC, right? People are trying to expose that. It's in the opposite direction. But, you know, the corruption that we're seeing, I think you're going to see that actually come to, like, I think you're going to know what that corruption is, maybe in the next year. Like, I think you're going to see a lot of it over the next year. Well, apparently, you know, some people reporting, I didn't research into it lately, but a lot of people have reported that, you know, NVIDIA, any insiders with NVIDIA have been selling at an unprecedented rate for the past like 3 months. And he, you know, Jensen is selling all the time. He's literally selling all the time. See if we can find it. Ooh. Okay. Volatility tried, kind of gave that up. Let's see if we can find it. All right, you guys want to see NVIDIA on the SEC filings? All right, so I have NVIDIA here on the SEC filings here on Open Insider. I'm showing the purchases and sales. So red means sale, green means purchases. What do you see? Look at this. It's all red. Man, if I was really confident in my company and really bullish about the price of my stock, right? Maybe he's confident in the company, right? The stock price doesn't necessarily dictate how good a company is. We know that. As an example, Amazon. Amazon flushed down to dollars, right, at one point. And they actually had their first profitable month when they were crashing down, which is funny. He was like, yeah, I don't see why the stock was really going down when it was like the first month we were profitable. But I just wanted to show you that. There's your SEC filings. Feeling good about NVIDIA still? That's all red, homies. There is not one green in there. I even scrolled. You have not seen green in months. That went back. I just showed you. That was just up into about the... we're at the end of October. That was just the end of August that I showed you right there. That only went to about the end of August. Pretty cool, right? Oh, I'm still on coin. Yeah, watch out 2-hour divergence. But, you know, if Bitcoin sees positivity, this can. It has earnings, so just be cautious. I just want to short it for vengeance. It's hard. NVIDIA is a very difficult one to call the top for. We talk about that all the time. You really have to be willing to manage trades, right? Take profit when you see a signal, manage trades. It crashes down, sees some terribleness, and then you gotta look at it with an unbiased lens at times and be like, is this a good signal? It is. Is it outside of a monthly move? It is. This is why we said, when everyone said NVIDIA's crashing, we said, this thing's about to rip. Then up here, oh, NVIDIA's about to go make a new all-time high. We said, oh, well, NVIDIA is actually probably going to fall here. It actually fell more than we thought. I thought it would come back into this zone and then we might see something. But then we come down lower and then we make another signal outside of a monthly expected move. And everyone's saying, hey, this is going to crash down. Oh, we say it's going to rip. All right, now up here, we had the battle. This is where we were more back and forth. Does that mean NVIDIA is going down? This signal suggests that NVIDIA will start to turn from here, yes. But if in the shorter term, right, say this doesn't want to land in its expected move, it doesn't have to. 32% chance to be up here. Well then, if that's going to happen, then this 2-hour is going to curl up. Right now, the 2-hour is curled down, which means the longer this 2-hour is curled down throughout today, the daily can curl down. And that's where you go, okay, we can see little moves like this, but most likely we will end up doing something like this before we see another upside move. I know, but it keeps dropping. IWM, you do have a 30-minute one. Yes, you do. It's not on the MACD and RSI at the same time. And we're trying to react, use that 223.08 level. So that's good, but you do have a divergence on the MACD, not the RSI, and that hasn't confirmed yet. So this could be a retest of our level of 223. 08, right? So you do have it though. You see it here. If I could freaking draw, you see that? Hasn't confirmed. But you don't see it on the MAC or the RSI at the same time, right? We don't see it on the RSI, which tells us this could be a pullback in some way. But if that crosses, look how close it is to the center line. You don't want to mess around with that because of the 2 hour. If that leaks down too much, then the 2 hour crosses, then that can say, ooh, downside. And we have a long way to the weekly expected move. We have not touched one yet. We got up towards one. We didn't touch one. What do I think of after hours? Man, the thing about earnings season, it's entertaining, but I dislike it because technicals can be thrown out the window and all earnings is pretty much a 50-50 flip. So what do I think about Microsoft and Meta? I think if those show weakness, if those give bad earnings, then we're going to see a lot of things start to confirm, and we got to watch out for weeklies to confirm. If they see positivity, then I think that's how this 2 hour for the SPY actually goes higher. Right? I think if they give positivity, that's the reason for this going to the top side weekly expected move. And then what happens after that? I think bad things. That's what I think. So it can go either way. That's why I have to talk seriously about both directions. That's why I'm paying close attention to volatility, because volatility can give me a hint, right? This is rejecting. It's starting to get a wick. I want to see if that crosses, and that doesn't mean it's over. Microsoft and Google could produce bad earnings, and you wake up in the morning and volatility is popping. So I really just want to see, does this turn up today? Because that would suggest that some selling is going to come in. Qs are confirming it with divergence on the MACD, on the RSI at the same time. That means this 2 hour can start to turn. That means that the main, I would say the macro-ish, the middle ground, I guess, the medium signal, not the 30-minute or 2 hour, not the daily or the weekly. I think this is a great signal. This is the best signal you're going to see. If you're going to see a downfall when momentum is telling you that you're going to see a downfall, you have, just to be clear, let me be very clear about seeing this signal here, because I don't think people are understanding why this signal is so bad. And I'm not saying it has to play out. That's very key to understand. It doesn't have to, right? Everything's a probability. But the reason that this signal is garbage is because of 492.28. Who in the chat has been paying attention to the videos? Who in the chat has paid attention to when I talked about this pink line? What happens when we get above this pink line for the Qs? What has happened when we get outside of this pink line? Are you hacking up a lung over there? What are you doing? My old man dog is. 68% chance to fall back. If you aren't clear right now, this is your annual expected move for 2024. When we get outside of that move, bad things happen. And notice, what did we have the last time bad things happened? Boop. Boop. Well, that's not the best drawing. It wasn't that significant, actually. But still, that is weakness. Now, what signal looks worse to you? Yes, perfect, Ifoma. Love it. Bad things happen. Okay, what signal looks worse to you? This one or this one? Come on, guys. A lot of you guys took the course. You should know. You should know. Which one looks worse? It's not a trick question. Holy shit, Jackal. That is an awful quote. Oh my god, that is a terrible quote. And it was prepared by management. That is a terrible quote. But which one's worse? Number 1 or number 2? Number 1, number 2. Who watches Scrubs? Come on. This one's way worse. Now, this doesn't mean it has to play out. This has not confirmed yet. But number 2 is way worse. Way worse. What's another reason that number 2 would be way worse if this were to play out? We have to say if. This is not confirmed. Perfect job. Good job, Nazim. Good job, Afoma. This is much worse for a whole nother reason that you're probably not thinking about right now. What do the SPY, let's see. I like these questions. I think questions are good. This is how we really learn, okay? And I'm not saying I know everything. I'm just seeing if you guys are paying attention to these classes. What does the SPY and what does the Qs do at major tops? Oh, no, I think they're just doing their job, Scott. I think that actually shows, like, I respect them for it. The nay. Because SPY gets a higher high, Qs get a lower high. The SPY goes and makes a divergence, the Qs cannot make that divergence. So what did we say weeks ago when we said, hey, watch out because this is breaking out? What do we need to pay attention to? We need to pay attention if the Qs can get above this high. If they get above this high, we don't necessarily have, like, I would say, classic major top behavior from the Qs. Instead, if we make that higher high, that's when I was more leaning towards correction. So maybe someone pointing out Microsoft, Google earnings, maybe that's the thing that takes us to those highs. Then we see that fall down, and that's just a correction. But if that makes the lower high, which this signal is seriously suggesting but not confirming yet, then that would lead us to believe that this might be the lower high. The SPYs have made a higher high, and this could be some kind of major top. You could have it all right now. Pretty crazy. PLTR is bad right now. Okay, daily signals rejecting. That is a bad sign. Now, Palantir has seen bad signals before and reversed those around, but look at the 4-hour again. You know, 4-hour charts are just working out for us. The first time you had it, you didn't have it at the same time, and this was rather flat. Right? But now it's very significant. Now it's very significant. Right? We've seen moves that go like this. This is a 4-hour chart. It takes time, right? But if this were to confirm, does that look significant? It does to me. So good eye, Max. I like it, Max Effort. Good job. I don't know if your name's Max, but Max is always paying attention to good stuff, though. Max Effort. I'm just going to call you Max. Anyway, that's what we got to be paying attention to. Palantir looks bad. Right? Big stocks like Netflix. Big stocks like Netflix. On the weekly scale, a lot of these stocks look bad. We got Netflix looks bad. Let's look at an index. The Dow looks bad. The IWM still looks bad, guys. Sorry about it, but it kind of does. It doesn't look as bad. SPY looks terrible. Qs look really bad. Qs look weaker. The XLU, this was the daily scale. Housing sector looks bad, confirming. We'll see if that wick up has anything to save us for a bit. Apple, not as bad, actually. More the monthly scale. Tesla doesn't look terrible. Amazon already produced bad. Nvidia looks bad. AMD already looked bad, and now it's going to curl down into negative territory maybe. Watch out. Meta looks bad. Microsoft already experienced the bad. Do you see this? Weekly signals. Bounce? Controlled? Earnings? We'll see what happens with that one. Google. Earnings is that, you know, Google doesn't really have it as much. It has monthly ones, but Google has the opportunity to do something like this. Join Patreon. Thank you so much, Terry, for joining the Patreon. I really do appreciate it. Get those weekly charts on there, and tomorrow we will be updating you. And you can see the TLT trade when we posted it, by the way, Terry, so you can see that I'm not lying to you. But you can also see that tomorrow we will be updating after hours. I will be going through calculating those monthly expected moves for you. All right, Terry? And then I'll be posting those tomorrow night. All right, I'm just showing you all these signals, guys. Netflix looks like garbage, right? What stocks look decent? GME looked good. You know what I mean? It's like GME is still positive on the weekly scale. Doesn't show reversal signals to go negative here, right? All right, VIX. VIX looks decent, right? The weekly still remaining turned up, but you got to see the daily turn up to see the signal that we're really looking for here. Shit, I'm going a little extra, and my old man's telling me, hey man, you're supposed to take me outside for my 4th pee of the day because he's old. Volatility trying to turn up. Okay, guys, so I literally was just having so much fun today. I think it was a lot of fun. I think we were like just having a good time, you know, trying to learn, trying to do all that good stuff, paying attention to multiple moves. I think SMCI gave us a great topic for the day. I think it was a lot of fun. I do have to take off. I have to get prepared. I need to go get water just in case we lose power and that kind of stuff. I always have water, but I make sure that that's stocked up in case something really bad happens. But I will be joining you later. I most likely won't be able to come live at all today. So I'm hoping nothing crazy does happen, actually, because I want to see it on my computer. But I might lose power. I might do whatever. So rough, might have a tornado. So pray for me out there. But I do appreciate you guys being here. Terry, thank you so much for joining, asking some questions. And thank you for joining the Patreon. That is awesome. As always, guys, I just appreciate you being here. I think it's a lot of fun. I really wanted to come in today with a good attitude, and I'm excited to go vote, and I encourage you to do the same. But thank you guys for joining. I hope you guys have all the luck in the world with your trading. Stay a little bit safe out there and watch the cues if they turn down on this 30-minute. It can always turn back up, right? We always are managing the risk. We're always paying attention to how we can get screwed. If you don't know how to manage trades, well, then look at that course down in the description. You can learn to swing trade, and you can learn the trading strategies that we use around weekly ranges with divergences, learn about indicators, the whole shebang, for a total of $150 for both courses, right? $100 for that course talking about ranges and all the indicators, $50 to take swing trading, and that is going up at the end of November. But I want to end it with another big thank you. You guys are fantastic. We had a lot of fun. Thank you guys for going out and looking at info for me, because it is hard for me to do in real time. But I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Hopefully my power is okay to put out a YouTube video tonight. Either way, I can calculate those ranges on my phone if I need to. But thank you guys for being here. I hope you have a great day. Peace out.